Okay, 2.63. Um, let's go down to this. Starts talking about the diet. This is what should have come after talk about the nutrients, but whatever. So state what is meant by a term balanced diet and describe a balanced diet in related relation to age, sex, activity. Describe the effects of malnutrition. Okay, so a balanced diet provides adequate intake for of the nutrients needed to sustain the body. So adequate intake has to do with you as a person. What is adequate for you? What is good for you is not necessarily good for the next person. Um, so children who are growing do not need the same food as a pregnant person, who doesn't need the same food as a woman on her menstrual cycle, as an athlete who exercises, etc., etc., etc. Use your common sense to determine what is needed more or less. Children who are growing need more proteins for growth. That just makes sense. Um, Pregnant women and carbohydrates because growth takes energy. Pregnant women need more protein and carbohydrates as well. Women on their cycle need more iron. Athletes need more protein and carbohydrates. Use some common sense. All right. Malnutrition is a condition caused by eating an unbalanced diet. So unbalanced doesn't necessarily mean too little. It means unbalanced. So too little, too much of one thing and not enough of another, etc., etc. So the main two the main causes of malnutrition that we go through are kwashiorkor and marasmus. Let me get the spelling for that because I'm horrible with it. Okay, so the first one is marasmus, and this is when a person does not have enough of anything. So marasis is technically basic starvation. All right. Um, Stick-like limbs, very low body fat, etc. The other one is kwashiorkor, and this one has the funny spelling. Okay. And I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. Kwashiorkor. Kawashi. Okay, this I isn't there. Kwashiorkor. So that is when you don't have enough protein. So this person has access to things like rice, and it's probably just rice and maybe some grains. So they have access to carbohydrates, but they do not have any proteins. And as a result, their liver swells up, and that's when you get the that big belly look, even though the person is starving. Well, not starving. In Western cultures, our big problem is obesity. I'm not even sure if I spelled that right. It's just fat. You have too much of everything. Okay? Too many kilojoules of energy. Or not enough exercise combined with that, and you end up with problems like coronary heart disease. So, CHD, coronary heart disease, which is when you get plaque buildup inside of the coronary artery. Once this artery decides to get blocked, the heart says it's had enough and quits. Not enough water is another one, and you end up with constipation. They like to add. Okay, that was a joke. They like to add too much sugar, will give you tooth decay, right? And they also like to add too much salt, causes high blood pressure. But let's stick to the basics. Marasmus, kwashiorkor, obesity, coronary heart disease, constipation, lack of water, too much fat, not enough exercise, too much food, period, blah blah blah. Okay, so go back to, nope, not that. This guy. Describe the effects of malnutrition in relation to starvation, coronary heart disease, constipation, and obesity. The reason why I didn't go to tooth decay is because it's not on the syllabus. You know me. If it's not there, I'm not doing it. Discuss ways in which the use of modern technology has increased in food production. This is actually kind of common sense. We're able to make more food than ever worldwide because we have machines. You don't need a donkey and kids and slaves to go pick your food anymore. The machines get so much more of the work done so much faster. Artificial selection, a topic we go over later in a lot more detail, but artificial selection is basically if I have 10 apple trees, the 2 apple trees, so let's say I have 10 apple trees, let's say 5 because I don't feel like drawing 10. If 3 of them give me tiny apples and 2 of them give me big apples, what I do is I chop down these guys and I take the seeds from the big apples and I plant those. And what I end up with is more trees that give me big apples. 100 years later, the only thing that's left are trees that give big apples. That's artificial selection. Fertilizers, of course, we can provide the plants with exactly what they need. Pesticides, which is crops that are destroyed by bugs, insects, bats, blah, blah, blah. We can kill them before they kill us. Genetic engineering, that is taking genes from stuff like fishies and putting it into our carrots to make our carrots bigger and better or resistant to disease. That's the GMO, genetically modified organisms. And then herbicides. Oops, what was that? Killing the weeds. Herbicides, also known as weed killer. This is like the neatest slide ever. Okay. And then I think it tells you what to discuss problems of world food supplies. There is enough food on the planet for everyone to eat and not starve to death. Starvation is a result of politics, money, war, and possibly by drought and famine or flooding, but 9 times out of 9, it's one of these guys. It's all about the paper. So the syllabus kind of tells you unequal distribution due to that type of jazz. Okay, so this is a long topic. Let's get going. So this is about digestion. So we're gonna blaze through this, and you just have to keep hitting pause. Digestion, taking food in through the mouth. They specify through the mouth because there is other way to get food into you. If you have a mouth infection or you have your jaw wired shut or something like that, they can just give you an IV. So ingestion is food going through the mouth. Egestion is what happens after the food has gone through the entire process. So egestion is what comes out of your butt. That's it. The word excrement you would think has to do with excretion, but no. Okay, so egestion, you eat a Lego egests out. You need to be able to identify all of these bad boys on any diagram of a digestive system. Mouth, salivary glands, esophagus, stomach. These 3 are all a part of one thing. Pancreas, liver, gallbladder, and small intestine, duodenum, ileum. Large intestine, colon, rectum, anus. You need to be able to label them. Fact. Figure it out. Okay, so food goes in, egestion. It breaks down, that's digestion. It gets used, absorption. And whatever's left over comes out, egestion. Okay, that's the basics of the digestive system. What gets kicked out or what gets left out is assimilation, and that's when your body tells the molecules where to go and what to do. So please make sure you understand what digestion is. Digestion is taking large molecules and breaking them into tiny molecules that are water soluble. So the reason why we digest our food is to get it from sandwich into something that can go in the blood. There's only about 4 things that can go in the blood without killing us. So it goes from sandwich to glucose, sandwich to amino acids, or sandwich to fatty acids. That's it. Mechanical digestion is one of the 2 digestion processes. It actually doesn't digest. What it does is it breaks up. Make sure you say up and not down for mechanical. Okay, so it takes big sandwich. So I'm going to draw a sandwich here. It takes big sandwich and turns big sandwich into lots of little pieces of sandwich. Okay, that's what it means to break up. And it does this in order to increase the surface area. 3 places that mechanical digestion takes place, or 3 processes: chewing with the teeth, contractions in the stomach, emulsification of bile. That'll make more sense in a minute. Okay, Now, enzymes need to work on your food to break them down. So we need to open the food up so that the enzymes have as much space to hit as possible. If the food stayed rolled up, they wouldn't have many spots. So the mechanical digestion just makes the food nice and open. It opens up the surface area for you. Okay? Teeth 101, make sure you know the stuff. Be able to label enamel, dentine, pulp cavity, and cement. Be able to identify the crown and the root. Bang. Okay? Know your incisors, premolars, canines, and molars, your numbers, and your locations. I'm almost 30. I still don't know this stuff. I just guess. But you don't guess. You need to know your numbers. Okay? You have 8 incisors. You have 4 canines. You have 8 premolars. And you have 12 molars. And an adult set of teeth. Functions of the teeth. Hit pause and read it. This is a very long topic, and I only have 15 minutes. So, incisors for chiseling, canines for piercing. Some people say that chimpanzees are vegetarians. These gigantic canines say otherwise, unless you're arguing it's for defense. But no. Premolars and molars have cusp for grinding. So food gets it stuck between the cusp, and then I close and I wiggle, and it breaks the food up. So plaque is the combination of saliva and bacteria. What happens is once the bacteria get access to some sugar, they perform anaerobic respiration, which produces acid, and that acid breaks our teeth down. How can we increase our teeth hygiene? Is that a word? Teeth health? Tooth health? Tooth care. Regular brushing, flossing. If you eat less sugar, you'll get less acid, so that's a good one. If you drink water after every meal, it should wash the rest of the sugar down. And visiting the dentist, there is an argument that adding fluoride strengthens teeth. The problem with fluoride is it is a poison, so it might kill the body, who knows, but taking it every day probably isn't the best idea. And in Western civilizations, we have what's called overfluorination, because fluoride is in everything. It's in toothpaste, it's in water, it's in mouthwash, it's in food, and then you still take a vitamin that has fluoride in it. So you're probably killing yourself slowly. Who knows? Now we talked about this process of emulsification. You cannot chew oil. If you ever try to chew oil, it's kind of a waste of time. So in order to get the oil to break into little pieces, we need a process called emulsification. And what it does is, after it breaks the oil into little pieces, it surrounds it so that it can't stick back together. Alright, so it takes big globules and breaks them into small globules, and then it keeps them separated. So think about a crowd of people. You can't really fight the crowd when it's big, so what you do is you separate the crowd and then you surround them. Easy, right? So emulsification turns big blobs into little blobs. This increases the surface area for the enzymes to work on, just like before. Now, where are these enzymes to? So we're going to look at the types of food and where they're broken down. So starches, think grains, breads, rice, they are broken down by amylase. And there are 2 amylases in our body. Salivary amylase, which is found in the mouth, that just makes sense, and pancreatic amylase, which is found in the duodenum, but it's made by the pancreas. Okay? And I think the slide explains what makes them. Salivary glands make the amylase, pancreas makes the other amylase. Okay, I feel like this is something you just need to watch. Hold up. Starch is digested in the mouth and duodenum, but the enzymes are secreted by the salivary glands and the pancreas. That took me a lot of time. Okay, proteins. They are broken down in 2 places as well. The stomach and the duodenum again. And they are broken down by 2 enzymes. One called pepsin, one called trypsin. Please be advised, pepsin likes acidic environments. That's why it's in the stomach, where there's lots of stomach acid. And trypsin likes an alkaline environment. So guess where alkaline environment is? In the duodenum. Because the pancreas secretes bicarbonate to neutralize the acid. Ooh, you should rewind that and listen to that again. Okay? So, made by the stomach with the stomach acid and by the pancreas. Not watching that. The last one, lipids. Lipids is a hard one because you're used to them being called fats. But just like the term liposuction, that lipo is the lip, and lipids has to do with fats. Okay, so fats are broken down by an enzyme called lipase, so it's lip again, and lipase gets help from bile, the emulsification, remember? And the bile is made in the liver, and then once it's made in the liver, oh, that scratching is making me freak out. Once it's made in the liver, it goes down the bile duct into the gallbladder, where it's stored. So made, stored. Nice and neat. And then when it's needed, it gets squeezed into the duodenum. Alright, and then the lipase is made by the pancreas. Alright, a nice little table for you. Biology is tables and flashcards. That's it. Okay? Absorption. So the molecules need to get from the digestive system into the bloodstream. This happens in the small intestine through a process called absorption. In the small intestine, you have a bunch of things called villi, or many villas. Oh, I'm almost over 15 minutes. Uh-oh. I think I am over 15. Anyway, villas, and on each villas are microvilli, these little tiny things right here. Okay, so and what this does is increases the surface area. The number one answer in biology is surface area. Okay, so these are found in the ileum, and that's where all the absorption takes place. And inside of each villus is a blood supply. And what this blood supply does is, when the glucose and amino acids diffuse into the villus, the blood supply moves it away very quickly. And this keeps that diffusion gradient very, very, very high. And there's a little bit of active transport taking place too, but let's just stick to the basics. You will note that the fatty acids and glycerol did not go into the bloodstream. They go into this little stick in the middle called a lacteal. And the lacteal leads to the lymphatic system. Okay, so you might need to watch that twice before it clicks, but only the glucose and amino acids go into the bloodstream. Oh, that was useful. And the fatty acids and the glycerol go into the lacteal. A little oversimplified, but there you go. That high blood supply keeps the diffusion gradient nice and steep, so that diffusion keeps taking place. So after it goes into the blood supply, it comes into this vein called the HPV, also known as the hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein, I don't feel like writing it. And that leads to the liver. And the liver determines what happens to the glucose and the amino acids next. So if you have lots of glucose in your blood, what the liver will do is it will turn the glucose into glycogen, which is just a storage product. Okay? Now, if you do not have enough glucose in your blood, the liver will turn the glycogen back into glucose and give you a nice little sugar boost. Okay? Now, for the amino acids, you can't really store those. If you're not going to use amino acids, your liver will turn them into ammonia. Please note, ammonia is a poison, NH3. So your body converts the ammonia into urea, and that gets put into your bloodstream. And we all know where urea ends up. What was that for? I feel like there's something after urea also leaves something else behind. I don't know why I had that one. Okay, that process is called deamination. Okay? Oh, maybe that star was the energy that it kind of like makes a little mini carbohydrate too. So you can still get a little bit of energy from your extra amino acids. It's how carnivores survive. Okay? Please note, everything goes to the liver first. So alcohol, toxins, and medications, they have a tendency to either build up or kill your liver because that's the first place they go. Excess carbohydrates, I'm going to check the syllabus to see why I have that fat boy there. Public, blah, 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 blah. Come on, we got to finish. Oh, describe the role of fat. So fat has three options. It's either used, or it's burned, or it's stored. So let's check through this. Just drive the role of fats, liver, breakdown of alcohol and toxins, deamination, role of liver, assimilation. Definition for assimilation, there you go. It's where your body, it's what your liver is doing. It tells what the molecules from digestion what to do. Oh, I didn't get into the colon. Oops. The small intestines absorb most of the water and the food, but the colon absorbs the last little bit of water, and that's what turns your poop from kind of wet to kind of solid. Okay, I think I'm hitting the